All right, today we're going to talk about using the pen tool in Adobe Illustrator. The pen tool is a tool that once you master, you are able to do so many creative and fun things. So for this activity, before we can do anything, we need to talk through the instructions on how to use this activity. You'll see that there are a series of dots. You have blue dots, red dots, and green dots. For the blue dots, it's a quick click and release. For the red dots, which we will practice in exercises 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, we're going to actually pull handles. A handle is a geometric construct to help us build curves. And then last but not least, we're going to use the green dots to hold down the Alt key in order to change our handles. Let's talk about the different pen tools. When we're using Adobe Illustrator, we're going to be using the pen tool, and then later you can use the anchor point tool to adjust your curves. You can add or delete your anchor points by using either the add or delete anchor point tool. And we're going to be talking about the pen tool behavior signs that occur when using this tool. I put this little reference here to help you understand what you're seeing, and I'll talk about these throughout this video. Let's go ahead and get into it. Before we do anything, we're going to activate our pen tool, and then we're going to set up the appearance of our pen tool either through the control bar at the top or our properties bar over here. I'm going to do a no fill because I don't want to accidentally cover up the instructions that I've given you. And then I'm going to set my stroke to like 3 or 4 points, and I'm going to do a color that's going to pop a little bit more. So I'm going to choose this bright blue color like my instructions show you. So let's start with the straight lines. When we're using our pen tool, I want you to notice that we're going to be starting a new path behavior sign. That's the little asterisk next to the corner of my pen tool. And all I'm going to do for number 1 is I'm going to literally click like I'm playing connect the dots like I was when I was a kid. So I have started by simply clicking on number 1, and now you'll see that I can pull a line, and I get a little preview. So I'm just going to click on number 2, and there's my first line. If you notice, when I hover back over the anchor point, I'm getting a corner point sign. This would allow me to pull a handle or a curve, which we're going to practice later. But simply for number 1, I'm just going to click and trace all the way around. Now, it says hint, click on number 1 to complete the shape. If I did not finish it, I would have an open path, and I want to close my path. So that's the reason I clicked right back on the original anchor point. And I want you to notice that when I did that, and I hovered over that original anchor point, I got a small circle next to my pen tool. That's telling me that I'm closing my path so that I know that I'm clicking exactly where I need to. And now I have a shape. We're going to do the exact same thing for number 2, but we're going to add in a new keystroke. So I'm going to start with number 1, and then I'm going to click here on number 2. One of the things I want you to notice is I can go at any angle I want, but if I hold down Shift, it's going to lock my pen tool into a 45-degree angle. So now when I click, every line is perfectly straight. And again, I would go all the way around and go back and finish with number 1. If you're in a pen tool shape like this and you want to get out of it, we just hit escape. I'm going to let you finish that one on your own. Now we're going to start our curved shapes. When we're doing a curved shape, we're going to click just like we did before, but rather than releasing, I'm going to hold on while holding down my Shift key, and I'm going to do what I call pulling a handle or dragging a handle. This is my handle. And when I pull a handle, this is going to allow me, and I'm going to demonstrate just so you can see, the smaller my handle, the shallower my curve. The bigger my handle, the bigger my curve. So knowing how far you need to pull your handle is something that takes some practice. Now, I'm held down my Shift key because I want a perfectly straight. So if I don't hold down Shift, see, it can go any delay, but if I hold down Shift, I get a perfectly straight handle. So now I'm going to release. Now you'll notice that it's not lining up perfectly. That's fine because we're going to draw and pull another handle on the other side, and it's going to finish that curve. So when I drag out to number 4, you'll see now my line lines up, and I'm going to follow and do this all the way around. Now, is there an easier way to draw a circle? Absolutely. But for our purposes, it's just for practice pulling a curve. Now, you'll notice that I went back to number 1, and there's that closing my path symbol, that little tiny circle, and I'm holding down shift again so that I can finish. And you'll notice when I hold down shift, it's not messing with the original handle I pull. I'm just pulling a new one so that I can finish my circle. We're going to do almost the exact same thing here, but this time we're going to go back and forth and go in different directions. So instead, I'm going to pull my handle the opposite way to get a curve. So I'm just going to go all the way down. Now, because we're not finishing our shape this time, we have to hit what key to get out of this? We talked about it earlier. Escape. Good. Now this one's a little different. This one's a little funky. We're going to click. We're going to hold shift. We're going to drag to 2, and we're going to release just like we did before. Now this is important. What we're going to do is we're going to click on number 3. Now you can't see my hands, but I've let go. I'm not holding on. I'm not doing anything, because now I'm going to come back here. And remember how I talked about you can change your anchor point? See that little symbol? We got the little caret or the little arrow sign. Now I can pull down a separate handle. Okay. And what I want you to notice is it's only giving me a handle on one side. I'm not getting a handle over here because it's going to maintain that sharpness. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to click and release, and then I'm going to grab that handle and drag it down off the anchor point. And this gets me kind of a modified shape where I can have the sharp points and the curves. And again, what are we going to be hitting to get out of this? The escape key. Okay. So those are 4 different types of curves to start with. Now this one is going to be fun. We're going to draw this little cloud shape. So what we're going to do for this one is it's going to be a little different. Okay. What we're going to do is we are going to fold, I like to call it fold the handle. So we're going to click on number 1, and I'm going to drag to number 2. I'm going to go to 3 just like I did before, and I'm going to drag to 4. Now this is the key. I want to move this side of my handle to 5. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to literally release it. I can do it either way. I'm going to walk you through both. I can release it and then hold down my option key. See how my cursor changed? Now I've got that little caret, and I can grab my handle and drag it up to number 5. Okay, that's one way. Or I can go 6. I'm going to show you on this one. I'm a 6, drag to 7, and I'm not releasing my mouse this time. And I'm just holding down that Alt key and then dragging to 8. I find that students like to do it either way. I think either way is fine. I think it just depends on what you're comfortable with and what version you prefer. I have always been a hold down my mouse kind of girl. But I think that, again, some of the students don't always love because they're maybe too zoomed in to hold that down, or maybe they're just not comfortable with that. So you do not have to start over if you release your mouse, which is such a nice gift. You can just keep on going. The biggest thing about learning to use the pen tool as well is you have to involve both hands. There is no learning to draw with the pen tool and only using one hand. You're going to have to get your mouse hand and your left hand involved. Now, we're going to finish it, and this is a little different. If I click right here and I just pull, it does affect my other handle. So I have to be very careful to hold down that option key when I pull and drag my handle to number 4 to get the rest of that curve. Now for 7, it's very similar to what we just did. I'm going to let you practice that on your own. And the last option over here is you're going to do some more practicing on some pen tool shapes. Now here's a challenge I'm going to give you. This one, just clicking like we did before. The tree, however, you can use a combination of the shift key and not the shift key. So make sure you're paying attention to whether you need that shift key. See how it doesn't line up? It's important to recognize that you're going to have to release and back and forth with your shift key versus your not shift key. So these are some good practice for you on how to use the pen tool. Remember that the keyboard shortcut is P for pen tool. That's a lot more efficient than coming up to the toolbar and back down. And make sure you're paying attention to those pen tool behavior signs. They are there to help you, and they're very, very beneficial once you start to figure out what they mean. Hope you enjoy this worksheet, and remember that we will be applying the pen tool to almost everything we create in Illustrator.